don't wanna.
Me.
Welcome to the Vlogpastors Podcast, a podcast all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. Now, here are two pastors that love to put a camera in their face and walk around in public. They are the Wayne and Garth of digital ministry, Jarrod Brown and Joshua Verwers.
That's right, I'm Joshua Verwers.
And I'm Jarrod Brown, and this is episode 60 or 70 something.
Yeah, we're not quite sure, and I said I don't want to because I don't think we really want to, but we're glad that you're here with us.
Hey, I'm glad John's here with us today because he's going to help shape the conversation as you can every Wednesday at 10:30 or 11:30. Looks like we're getting started today.
That's right. We got, John and Jeffrey saying that they are here.
Jeffrey's still here.
And it's good that you guys are with us. For those that are catching the replay or whatever, just thanks for being here. The title of this one, I think it's actually episode 65. 65. Unless we wind up taking this down and then we delete it. Because it says that we're stuck in a creative rut, and that's what we weren't even sure we were going to talk about this, but we are. It's going through that thing. I didn't want to. I don't want to.
I didn't want to. Still don't want to.
Neither one of us want to, and essentially what we don't want to do is talk about why we don't want to. So we don't want to talk about why we don't want to talk.
I don't want to.
I don't want to either. So maybe.
So
we
what
won't.
started your I don't want to?
I have no idea. Like, that's the craziest part about it for me. I can't think of what, but this has been going on for like 2 weeks now. What are we at? We're at is this the 19th? Yeah, so it's been,
oh goodness, yes,
19 days. I just remember because I had like I haven't even uploaded the Bible verse shorts in 19 days. I was doing those every single day, and it was like, I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life. It's perfect. It's great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to get my daughter to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was like the 30th or 31st. Let me count the knuckles to figure out how many days were in September. It wound up being the last day, and we had lots of stuff to do and lots of places to go. And then all of a sudden, it's the next morning. I was like, oh, I don't have anything. I need to record something really quick and get that up there. And it was the instant pressure of having to do that, I think, that it was just like, no. And maybe that's my problem. I don't respond well to pressure.
Oh, my goodness.
The stubborn Dutchman in me, when I feel like I'm being pressured to do something, I will dig my heels in and create a much bigger situation out of things than I ought to be. Oh, wretched man that I am.
You're not alone.
But like, you ask, when did it happen? Why did it happen? I don't know. Like, I can't pinpoint other than right now, just talking out with you. I'm thinking maybe that's actually why. And maybe it was because of the pressure. And I will, like, I do not respond well to pressure. Mm-hmm. And like, hey, full disclosure for anybody, if you ever want me to do something, don't ever try peer pressure. Mm-hmm. Like, I do not respond to that at all. That's the quickest way to get me in a fight.
See, I'm so glad that we get this time to elaborate on some of these issues because in text conversation, I've teased you relentlessly about peer pressuring, and I can't ever tell if your responses are like, no, seriously, get off my back, or if you're just goofing around with the rest of us.
It depends. So if it depends on if the peer pressure is lighthearted, joking peer pressure, or if it's like legit peer pressure. And there's a difference. And I think, people that aren't fully self-absorbed, they can start to think, okay, is that how they intended it? And there's a thin line. And I think it's a shifting line depending on the person and what side of it they're on. But yeah, for me, it's just one of those that if it's a lighthearted peer pressure, then whether, I just kind of shrug it off.
I have noticed that even in the lighthearted peer pressure,
it doesn't move me at all.
You're not even gonna, but you don't even joke like, oh yeah, maybe I'll consider it. You're just like,
no,
nope.
So the way I respond, yeah, I'm definitely a nope on all peer pressure. The thing that
Nope.
it's my response, like I will go comms dark and even start to write people off if they get very pushy on it. Now that's after I've completely rebuked them about it. And it's like, seriously, you stepped over bounds, don't even touch this again, or we're done. Like that's where I'll go to that point. But if it's just, poking fun and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, not going to happen. And then when it gets to a point where I feel like I don't know if it is, then I'm like, yeah, I don't respond to peer pressure. And then I just let people know. And part of that is because there's a segment of peer pressure that comes in with trying to put on a guilt trip. And I received a lot of guilt tripping from people when I was a kid. And then as an adult, I've realized that guilt trips.
I don't have to.
Well, yeah, one, I don't have to, but I've also realized that guilt trips are just a form of manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritually, manipulation is a form of witchcraft. And it's like, I ain't even playing with that.
Yeah.
So,
no, thank you.
now, but peer pressure, and I think I've done this with you too, where I'll poke lighthearted peer pressure, like, come on, peer pressure, you got to do it. And I'll do that just so that everybody knows, hey, I'm only doing this because we're all doing this and it's like, join in the fun. But then if somebody's like, no, I'm out, then it's like, okay, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's so
kinda
funny
where
for just this dynamic, because that is a good portion of what being in digital ministry is, at least with peers and stuff. It's like, come on, man, everybody's doing it. And none of us mean it. Like,
Yeah.
because that's the exact opposite. That's the worst advice to take. Everybody's doing it, so you should too.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's like most of the peer pressure that's out there as an adult, like peer pressure doesn't really get most adults. Other than there's that element of FOMO and keeping up with the Joneses that is, I guess, an adult form of peer pressure, which I think that would be somebody that said, when the neighbor has a perfectly manicured lawn, that's adult peer pressure. It's like, oh, now I got to mow, but I didn't want to mow. I mean, it's been a
Josh
drought.
is
Who cares if
posting
I've
2
got
times a
weeds?
week.
Yeah.
I don't want to post 2 times a week.
Right. And that's like where I actually enjoyed when you did the series, because that's you. You do you. You enjoy
You do
your
you,
30-day
boo.
series. I ain't doing it. So it was like, yeah, that aspect of it that I don't know. And I don't even know if it's like what the deal has really been, but if I had to guess, if you were asking me, if you were putting me on the spot with it, I would say it's probably just this this arbitrary pressure that I felt, and it was probably more a self-imposed pressure because I want to do it all, and I want to do it all right now, and I don't want to wait for the results. So I want the results without putting in the work. And then I wind up telling myself that I've already put in the work, so why should I have to put in more work? Even though I didn't put in the right amount of work because I wasn't really doing what God told me to do in the first place. So maybe it's not so much pressure as a rebuking that I received. Maybe I got scolded spiritually, and I thought it was pressure. And now I'm just a little kid that's pouting because I got called in by dad and spanked. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, I enjoyed the direction of that, wherever that was going.
I really don't know. But I just know that I felt a want to, but it hasn't been compelling enough to make me actually do it.
Right.
So, and part of that, like, I mean, there have been multiple days in the last 2 weeks. Now, some of that because I just wasn't feeling good, but most of it was because I just didn't want to. Multiple days. The only time I even came in the office, in the studio, was just to turn off the computer because I've got it set up on a timer to where it comes on at 8 a.m. every day. And then it's like 10 o'clock at night and I'm going to bed and it's like, oh, there's light coming on from the office. I didn't notice that at all today. So there have been multiple days of doing that, and it's just like, eh. So here, I'll get a couple comments while we're at it. Genevieve
BRB.
says, Josh holding back again. John, are you holding a vlog hostage again? No, I'm not holding a vlog hostage again because I haven't even recorded a vlog. So that's kind of where it was. Like, I haven't even done that. So, yeah. No vlog holding hostages because I haven't recorded the vlogs. I think I've actually cleared everything that I did record. So I think it's just a case that I haven't recorded it yet. Also, John says that he noticed my mug. There was a mug change. And that's going to be just for the those that are watching that can see that. That was Logan's choice. Jen says the dogs are going to bark. We're almost home. That'll be fun. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's just I'm kind of in that, and you guys know I've got a million different ideas. Mm-hmm. I also don't know where to start, and I know I should just pick something and start, but I don't want to. So
I feel that.
Yeah. Where's your rut coming from? Put me on the spot.
No, I'm fully engaged listening because I'll answer for sure, but I'm just noticing some similarities. A lot of it, I'd say majority of it is don't want tos.
Yeah.
And it's stemming from, if I were to ponder on it for just a second and get out of just I don't want to, I think it comes from the series. Doing this series was a blessing and a little bit of a kickback. Wouldn't call it a curse, but a kickback. Yeah. Excuse me.
It's like with everything where it's got the pros and the cons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I enjoyed the series. That was something that I'd wanted to do for a long time. The ideas, just like the execution of it, how it was done, it just being fairly easy, like it flowed. That was fun. What I didn't like, here's the takeaway though. It had a purpose. It inspired at least the audience that I had, so I enjoyed that. Well, now when I'm done with it and I go to make something else, it makes the videos that I'm now creating seem less. So now I feel this overwhelming pressure to sit down in front of the camera and have I think I told you 10 simple hacks for daily vlogging, blah 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 blah. Okay. Or I've got a handful of those. I've got all sorts of ideas on how to make content that's more valuable for my audience. Here's the problem. I don't like it. I don't want to. That's not why I got into vlogging. I don't want to sit down at the desk and tell you 10 best practices for whatever. That's stuff that we can do on this show. I love that. Let's hammer that kind of stuff out. You got an idea. I got an idea. Well, here's what's working for us. That's fun. But not to sit down and have to crank that out every week. Right. And then I've started, I was telling John about this the other day. I've started, so I have projects. Oh, the biggest issue. Let me back up because my mind's scattered. Here's the biggest thing. I did nothing for a week, and not the nothing part, but my wife loved having me present.
Oh, yeah.
And when I picked up the camera again to work, to produce videos, she was like, man, this is not it. Whatever you got going on right now, this is not it. If every time you go back into this mode, and it's happened throughout the course of YouTube, every time you go back into this mode of trying to figure out who your audience is and find out the value that you bring to them, and then you go back, then you get discouraged, and then you come back with, I'm just going to do whatever God wants me to do. And then, 2 years later, you're in the same grind of it. It's like, this is not it. Just set it down. If this is this discouraging to you, you don't need this mess. And so you're balancing, which we've done a million times over, the counsel of your wife who sees you day to day and you trust and you value. And then but his ministry is hard.
Right.
And sheep bite, and people who have different ideas as to where your content should go. That's just their ideas of that's not the overwhelming direction of where your God says it should go. Mm-hmm. So anyway, in the last week, I've probably started at this point 6 videos that either real work has gotten in the way and I haven't been able to physically complete it because an emergency happens, or as you well know, bro, every day is one conversation that leads into the next conversation that leads into the next conversation.
And then where did the day go?
there's no time to go, oh, hold on just a second, let me get out. And and one of the the positive feedbacks I got from the series was we loved it. We loved how, we got to see different aspects
Behind
of
the
your life,
scenes,
but behind the scenes, but a little bit of production quality would also be nice. And so I'm like trying to break out my A7S III, and it's never going to come out now that I've spent 30 days with this thing. Anyway, it's all things that just begin to snowball to where you go, I don't even want to do this. And again, I was telling John, I've got some around the house projects that I want to record. This is just if it was nobody else in the world, if it's just me, I want to record for the sake of like pushing my skill set in filming and updates on the farm. I'm learning about solar. Like we're getting ready to put in solar here. So like solar's going on. We're doing some rain catchment projects. We've got some cool stuff going on around the house. And I want to film all of that stuff. That doesn't fit in with, I got a little bit around the farm stuff, and then then it's got to be, in my mind, a certain level of quality. I've got to have a point to each vlog. I've got to have, and there's a part of me that just wants to, this is the whole thing where you say I don't want to, and you kick back on I want to be free, man. I just want to be free. And my father-in-law came over, I think it was yesterday or the day before. He goes, you don't function well under pressure. Not that you can't perform whenever tough times come. Right. But when things just get to nagging on you, like you'll burn it down. Yeah. And I will, man. That's how I feel about the channel. Like I will burn it down today if it means freedom, if it means, getting that monkey off your back.
Hey, full disclosure.
Yeah.
There are many times that I don't even like the 10:30 a.m. on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. Like the fact that we said every Wednesday, I'm like, why did we do that to ourselves? What if we don't want to?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and now I've got to be sick for us to take a week off. Like, so there are these, I'm with you. There's this weird pressure that we put on ourselves and the others put on us, or the algorithm puts on us, or the proper way of doing things puts on us, or wherever it comes from. Yeah, no. Pressure is not good. Pressure has to be released. Otherwise, there's an explosion. How do we release the pressure? And I'm asking because I don't have the answer. So you know how sometimes it's easier to give advice to somebody else than yourself? Mm-hmm. Maybe if I were to try to give Jarrod advice in this situation, I would say, why not just make what you want to make then? Like, what's stopping you from doing the stuff that you want?
Fear. Fear, and there's, if we want to get straight into it, fear and the pettiness of people's opinions. I don't know why it still has a slim hold on me. Because while I can say in one very convincing to myself breath, I will burn it down, because I will. I also have 5+ years, and I don't know, it'll probably go up tomorrow, 7+ years of YouTube working diligently under my belt that I don't. If God, let me just say it this way.
Yeah.
If God were to use my ministry, I feel like that backlog of people and relationships and video would be pertinent to the equation. Otherwise, like, it doesn't matter. Do what you want. Eat, feast, for tomorrow. Yeah. It's Ecclesiastes. Vanity, vanity. All things are vanity. Let's just go on with it. That's kind of where I've landed. You asked the question, why don't you just make what you want to make? When my father-in-law came over yesterday and was like, dude, you don't do well, I was, and my wife can vouch for this, I was just not okay for the rest of the day, because I'm like, I'm not doing well with this.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to have this feeling. So whatever needs to be done away with needs to be done away with. And I caught this, and here would be my answer to your question. I think we need those the God breakthrough, the God nugget moments. I don't want to be held to, held to a ministry because God called me to do it. I want to be inspired. I'm led by a carrot, man. I don't do well with a stick. And I know God tends to lead me with a carrot more often than not. And I saw a little nugget of like me filmmaking and telling stories and making whatever I want to make. And that was inspiring to me. My fear is, so that's the nugget that inspires me to keep going and to do what I need to do. My fear is what I know in my mind and through whatever demonic lies out there has been the pushback of there's no value in this content. Like you're making it for yourself. And I hear that over and over and over and over again.
Right.
So,
but we also do know that, yes, that is a lie, because if it encourages, blesses, entertains, inspires you, it will somebody else too. The hard part is, will they ever see it? Will they ever find it? Who knows? But then, and while I'm saying this to you, I know I'm also saying it to myself too. Then there's also the aspect that we're only responsible for our output, not the outcome. Like, we just have to kind of put it out there. Yes, in the best way that we know how, but that's also within the confines of how God has led us. Because the best way that we know how, if it's based on how he's led somebody else, that's not the best way for us. So that's where I would ask you this, analyze my stuff. Do you think I should be making the stuff that you thought you should be making? The top 10 list, the how-tos?
Do I think that you should be?
Yeah.
I think this is where proximity is going to get us, because I already know what has a no like and love, or no like, whatever the funnel is.
The no like trust.
No like trust. I'm so deep down the Joshua Verwer's rabbit trail that I'm in the tunnel that goes, I
You'll
like
watch
everything
and anything that I put out there.
I'll watch videos that aren't on your channel about your kids just to see what they're into.
If I were to sit there and make I'm trying to think of what I'm actually supposed to be. Oh, hey, I've got new internet. I have to try to, it's amazing internet too. But if I were to try to, which I've got to do this, I've got Windstream's router. Well, yeah, their wireless router. They call it a modem. It's not a modem. You don't have a modem. Fiber doesn't need a modem. All you really need is like an optical network transfer, and that's all. I've already got that. So they've got a wireless router here. If I were to make a vlog about me hooking up my router to work with their ONT, optical network terminal, so that I don't have to use their router and I can save myself $10 a month. That's the vlog. You'd watch it, wouldn't you?
Watch the mess out of it.
Right. Even though...
And I'd be mad at you for it. I'd be like, guy's getting so much fast internet.
But like...
He's paying less for it.
Well, yeah. But at the same time, it's like that type of stuff, or me go on a tangent about, do I need RG6, RG6A, or RG7? I
have no clue. I would love to hear that video, because I have no clue which one you're supposed to use.
Right. And that's like, so this is stuff that it shouldn't, by all standards, I should never make videos like that.
Oh, you're going to hear about it. Here's the catch. This is still going on. So I guess my to myself and to you would be, my advice would be, what has the Lord called you to do? What is he asking you to make? And if it's anything, I think mine's less about what he's asked me to make and more about who he's asked me to be. He wants me to live free.
Right.
And I can't be inside of these. I can hear them only whenever I'm talking to you about it. The rest of the time I'm just in crazy pants mode going, what's going on here?
Well,
but like,
And I sat
For
there.
you,
okay,
I'd say the same thing.
right. But let's think about the no like trust factor. Okay. Even though I get that, it does make sense. And obviously, as pastors, we do that anyways. There is that element. Like our congregation, they trust us. But they trust us because they've gotten to know us. And because they've gotten to know us, they've gotten to like us. And if they didn't get to like us, why are they still coming to our church?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So there's that no like trust thing to where we can pretty much preach on anything and use any kind of illustration or story, and they're in it. They're all about it. That's what you're telling me with the stuff that I put on my channel. You're all about it, whatever.
All about it.
And that is primarily because I think in a way I've set up the channel to be, it's me, it's my life. It's about what I'm doing and what I'm going through and who I am. And yes, I've got the overall live by faith, and that's what I'm trying to do. But I mean, come on, aren't we all really doing that? Whether we're even calling ourselves Christians or not, we all live by faith in some aspect. It's what is our faith in and how are we living by that? But even like, and yes, I could make it super spiritual, and I could, if somebody's like, what does setting up a wireless router with an ONT have to do anything? You know what? I'm trying to save money. Why? Because stewardship is a good thing. If you need me to try to come up with a spiritual connotation, there it is for you. But I don't want to have to come
say
up with that.
Do you have to say that every time on your channel?
No.
I'm asking you.
I don't.
You do not have to say that on your channel every time. It doesn't have to have
Why?
a spiritual tie-in.
Why should it? Why does it? Does everything that I do have a spiritual tie-in? Do I have to have a spiritual tie-in when I hold this mug up? I like doing this. I really like doing this. Why? Because it feels good. You know what? We were just talking about that. A relief valve.
Yeah.
Like something is a relief valve. That is a relief valve. And those 4 letters is how I spell relief a lot of times. Does that have to have a spiritual connotation to it? If you need me to, here's the spiritual connotation. Every time that gas leaves my body, that is the way that God has designed me. Instead of saying, ooh, that stinks, people ought to be saying, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Your body's operating the way it was intended and it was designed. Like, I mean, really?
Also, meatloaf was a bad choice.
Yes. But it's like, do we really need to have a spiritual connotation for absolutely everything? Me, I actually see that as being a dangerous thing because there's not just the spiritual realm, there is a natural realm. And if we're only focused on the spiritual, we are over-spiritualizing things. Like, really? I mean, flagellants, that's a natural thing. It's not a spiritual thing. I don't want to over-spiritualize it, even though every time I do it at night, I'm always saying hallelujah just because, my wife doesn't like it. So it's like, I don't want to have to over-spiritualize things because why? Like, why am I really doing that? Because I wanted to save $10. I don't want to have to pay them any more money than I have to. And what am I going to do with the $10? I can tell you right now, I am not going to give $10 more to the kingdom of God. I am going to get Wingstop or Whataburger. That's what's happening with that $10.
That needs to be in the video.
So it's like, why would I? Like, I want to see Jarrod messing around with solar. I want to see him doing the farming projects. I don't have a farm. I'm not putting up fencing. Will I put up solar? Maybe.
I don't want to convolute the conversation we have going on here, but here's my issue. What if Jarrod does nothing today?
Then
he still filmed it. He still interacted with his wife. He went on about his normal day living. Do you want to see that video? Title
Probably.
Is Things. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so let's play this out. There are times even in my family, okay? So I'm going to separate from me to Jarrod. I'm going to talk about me, my wife, my kids.
Okay.
I'm interested in them and their lives. Doesn't mean I'm interested in everything in them and in their lives. And if if Kiera comes back from work and she wants to tell me the exact same story that she's told me 50 times, I don't want to hear it. Now, I will listen because I love her, unless I'm just not in the mood. I'm having a bad day, then I might not, and then I'll just tell her, can we talk about this later? But I'll listen, even if it had nothing to do with her or anything about her, I'll still listen. Because I want to be involved and invested in her life, even if I'm not interested in it. So that's where, like, now let's bring it back to your channel. I'm not interested in putting up fences for goats. I don't have goats. I don't have fences. The only reason I would ever put a fence in my backyard is to make my wife happy so she could have a hot tub. Like, that's the only reason.
That's in there, actually. It's coming.
And I hope not.
Redneck hot tub.
I hope not. Although you never know. But that would be the only thing. And then that would be a completely different type of fence. However, I know that that is a big portion of your life. So yes, now the moments where you're doing absolutely nothing, sometimes it's refreshing to see somebody do absolutely nothing. Like, if I sit there and I think about even Jesus's life, I mean, I'm glad that we have so much of his life written down in the Gospels, but I wish that there was more written. Like, how amazing would it have been to be one of those 12? To be one of the 12 that you gotta hear Jesus. It's like, I mean, how cool to be with him and to see and relate to him on a human level more than just you're the Christ, the Messiah. Like, and that even took time for that to even be revealed to them. And that was only revealed by our Father in heaven. So it's like the revelation that they really had of him is he's their teacher and their leader and a friend. And they're just having life with him, just walking. Like, there are moments that he's just not talking at all, and that would be cool, just to see him just being silent. To see him, like, wander off and just lay down and take a nap. Like, is that what we're doing today? Is we're just taking a nap? All right. So there are moments that, yes, that is interesting. So then when I sit there and I think about even for my own content, and I'll take this apart from your content, some of my favorite vlogs have really just been a whole lot of nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, just because we didn't have a rhyme or a reason to what we're doing. I mean, how many times have you guys seen us go up and do Funko Pop shopping? And really all that was is we had to go to Costco. So we figured, why not? I haven't made a vlog in a while. I'll just bring a camera and record it. And then there have been many other times. I mean, you can see from the plethora of Funkos in the back that I have not recorded those.
Hey, the Funko Pop Army is growing.
There is. There's an extra one right over there. Yeah. Which bonus points to anybody who can make out that blurry Funko Pop. So.
No, you can't. I mean, it's just on my end, it's a nothing. It's a blob.
But the hardcore wrestling fans would know. Just from that blob, they would know what that is. But so that's the thing. It's like out of all of the subscribers that I've got, we'll not even talk about the subscribers. Let's talk about like the 100 I'm lucky to get to view a vlog. Out of those 100, there might be 2 that are even remotely interested in wrestling. And I might be one of those 2. So it's like, because I'm not even sure my son is that interested in it at times. And so with that, it's like, okay, because people don't want to see this, do I not put that in? No, I'm interested in it. And I'm trying to share my life as a Christian, a husband, a father, a pastor, and how I'm living this life. That's what I'm sharing. And you're going to get it. And if you don't like it, I mean, there's millions of other YouTube channels. Go find somebody else. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm with you where I'm with you. I don't like the pressure. I really don't. Because I'm with you. I don't want this channel to feel like a job. It's not meant to be. Now that's not to say there's not work with it, because yes, there's ministry, and ministry is work, and you have to put in the work. But even with ministry, like, I don't overanalyze the ministry. Some of the best ministry that I do, I mean, like, what was it, a week ago, we had a hospital visit. And I mean, it was a surgery up there, so I went up just to kind of be with the family. And that's not me. That's like not the natural me. The natural me is like, what am I going to do? Like, the doctors are the ones that are there. What can I do? Oh, pray? I don't have to be present to pray. But I've learned enough to know that sometimes the presence is what is really needed. And so then it's like, that's all I have to do is show up. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to prepare anything. I just need to be there and show up. And so then I just kind of follow the lead of the family. And it's like, what do you want to do? We're just hanging out. You want to talk about something? Do you want to shoot the breeze? Just sit here, take a nap? Whatever. I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. You just don't worry about me. Oh, you can go home anytime now. Well, are you kicking me out? Because if you're kicking me out, I'll leave. If you're not kicking me out, I don't plan on leaving. You know, but like, is that a vlog that I could have recorded? Probably. And I'm sure somebody would have enjoyed watching that at the time. I just didn't feel like it. And it was like, because that's not what I was here for. Now they would have been cool with it and they wouldn't have had a problem with it, but it was just like, I just didn't feel like it. And I'm also okay with, I don't feel like it. I don't know.
No, I feel you, man, because I'll get halfway into the day. I have this thought that videos need to be interesting. The whole Casey thing that you brought back from the class. Interestingness. What do I find interesting that could be, relatable to the community? Well, I'll get into a day. It's funny how we don't think there's anything interesting in our lives. Like, I'll get halfway through a day and go, what'd we do? We went to a prayer group again.
Yeah.
And we prayed. You can't film that. And we talked way too long. I went to lunch with my dad again. Just like I do every Tuesday. Guess what we're going to do next Tuesday? Again. And we talked. And the dog tried to bite me again. It's like, yeah.
Now, that is the stuff that I enjoy to a certain degree. Although when I saw you having lunch with your dad on a regular basis, I felt bad about not seeing or talking to my dad as often as I ought to.
Dude, that is, no, you shouldn't. That is 100% him. That is an amazing, beautiful God story that I should probably tell one day on the vlog. But like, nah, man, he calls me up every week, or he doesn't call me up. He texts me every week. He's like, Tuesday, we still on for lunch? And then somehow or another, he started doing that when I was in college. Yep. And then was not there much previous to that. We'll just say that. Started doing that in college and then formed a relationship, man. It's a highlight of the week, really. Going to lunch with my dad.
Yeah. So. Well, and I mean, there was, when I was in college and then shortly therearound, and I was working up in Des Moines where Dad was, we were just right down the road from each other. We'd catch up on a regular basis. I don't remember the specifics, but we caught up for lunch on a regular basis. But now we don't. And then I of course I saw you're doing 30 days and it's like, he's having lunch with his dad again. He's having lunch with his dad again. He's having lunch with his dad again. I should probably call Dad. And actually that was like after 2 weeks of Genevieve looking at me and she's like, did you see that? Did you see what he's doing? It's like, yeah, I know. I need to. But no, so that's the things that interestingness. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing. Maybe I need to go back through the Casey course again, because I sit there and I think about Casey Neistat still inspires me. And his vlogs are really about nothing. It's like an episode of Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing. But yet somehow I am captivated and I walk away with something. There was somethingness in the nothingness because I found interestingness. I don't know. And I mean, that one vlog I did talking about that, it was just that wrestling painting. I don't even remember what I even talked about.
Well, I got to thinking the other day. I'm like, we got into this for a reason. So where my mind went with that is, I too, I watch Cole the Corn Star. I've told you about that before.
Yeah, up north.
Iowa, just yeah, just up north from you. He just works every day. And so I wrestle. I'm like, okay, so nothing happens, or do I need to make stuff happen to where I work and all, all the things that we all go through. But like, if we dial it back, we got into this. I got into this because I wanted to be on the device, on the platform
Right.
that had people's attention. And this may be a reflection on how I preached at the time, but I had a suspicion that more is caught than taught. And if I could
Mhm.
just live out my life, if they could see the behind the scenes of the pastor and I could show them like God moments in here, that might make them believe for what could happen in there. And I just don't know what best communicates that. I don't know. I get to looking at Cole and I'm like, oh, well, I need to go work. I need to go out to my, on my farm and start cutting down trees and moving brush and building fence. And I'm like, wait. How did I get into all of this stuff? That's not what I wanted to do. But then I get overly preachy and where I'm trying to do the 10 best things that you need to know about, what 3 steps to a better life with God or walking with God or whatever it is. And then I preach for 3 minutes and oh man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious what got you into this. I know we've covered it a bunch on the podcast, but do you feel like your videos are after the initial aim, or has God redirected you to a new aim? And do you feel like they're effective?
I'm going to need you to ask that
Okay,
again
3-part.
after I get done removing and blocking these spam.
Woo, private dating chat girls. That's what I'm talking about. Jeez
Ban,
Louise.
ban.
Oh,
always
mercy.
fun. I think I got them all banned at this point.
How come those yeah, never mind.
I
Whatever.
have
It's
no
what it
idea.
is.
Okay, so rephrase that one. That popped up and I was just like, oh, got a ban.
Yep, nope, probably handle that business first. No, do you feel like your videos are fulfilling the mission that God has called you to in digital ministry? Are you satisfied with them? Are you making the things that are that sweet spot? Because
Yep.
you will understand as a pastor. You have received revelation from God, from the Word. It's in that sweet spot. You've delivered it in a timely manner with I've lost it. The Greek word. Anyway, and you've delivered it in power, and the word went forth, and the people received it, and God was amongst His people in that sweet thing. You didn't need any feedback from Him. You know that He was there, and it went out. It went out and was received, and you all enjoyed a moment there. Are you getting that from your videos?
Am I getting that sweet spot? No. Do I get that sweet spot from my sermons? No. Have I? Yes. Do I on a regular basis? No. And I think that's a mental block.
Okay.
I think it's a perception thing. It's how I see it. Because if I even just look at, let's just look sermon only, like, because I can look at physical ministry, digital ministry. So physical ministry, I'm primary function is preaching in the Word of God. The Word will always accomplish what it was set forth to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a study to show myself approved. So study it, preach it, just present it to the best of my ability. And I don't worry about how it's received or how it's taken, because if I've done everything on my end, and I truly believe that even me preaching is just the Holy Spirit preaching through me,
Mm-hmm.
then the pressure's off. Now, because I don't sense or feel that sweet spot, I just preach whatever I preach and I just let it fly. So I don't notice that or really look for it. There are the occasional moments that, yeah, it's like, and I get those occasionally where it's just like, man, I have no idea where we're heading or where we're going, but this is not what I prepared, and I just know that this is all Him, and it's just going to hit. So there are those moments that I get in the physical ministry, but I'm primarily just, here's the thought that he put on my heart. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what I'm studying. Here's the nugget that jumped out. So whatever he's teaching me, I'm just passing along. And that's my simple approach to preaching. It's a follow the leader thing. So it's like, hey, if I'm learning it, you need to learn it. If this is what I've picked up on, I'm going to share it. Apart from if somebody's asked specific questions, and then I'll prepare something on that line. But typically it's just whatever he's put on my heart. That's what I'm just sharing. So then when it comes to the digital ministry side of it, are there moments where it's like, yeah, this is like a sweet spot video that it was just kind of perfect. And I wasn't intending it to be like this. It was just kind of God ran with it. Yeah. Have there been those? Yep. Few and far between. And there have even been some that I look at the analytics and the feedback and I find out that it was a sweet spot video that I absolutely hate and I would love to delete it from the channel because that's not what I want to do anymore.
Right.
But it works, and it's just like, it is what it is. So when I sit there and I think about, okay, what was I supposed to be doing? What you had said, more is caught than taught. Amen. Like, that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to go into the vlog aspect of this, because I don't have to teach something. If I'm teaching it, I really need to be prepared. And that's so much extra work. Like, yeah. I just don't want to do that. I want it to be kind of free flowing. And then there's those moments that I sit there and it's like, am I getting the views that I want? No. Am I getting the feedback that I want? No. Does that mean it's not doing what I wanted? No. And I just had feedback. Actually, it's been the last couple weeks from a guy at our church, and he just started watching the vlog and is loving it. And I'm like, cool. It's just like, like he's having that conversation. He's like, I just watched a video from what was that, last year when you were wrestling? I didn't know that you used to wrestle. But all of a sudden, because of that, now he's able to relate to me in a new way. So the know, the like, the trust, and it's building that relationship through some of that stuff. So I guess that's where I look at this and I'm like, I just need to, I don't know, get back to the basics again of what was I doing? And really, when I was doing this, it was more of the caught than taught. And I think there's even a freedom for us in vlogging in that aspect, because it's like, we just put something out there. Now, should vlogs have a point? Probably. Possibly. Yeah, we're ignoring John right now.
I couldn't help it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I saw it and I was ignoring it. I was hoping you didn't see it, and then I saw your face.
It blipped up, and I was just like, all right, I need to stay locked in here. But
you couldn't do it. It was
attention.
Too good. John trolling us in here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But no, I sit there and I think about this, and it's like getting back to the basics of just make the videos. Should a vlog have a point? Yes. Yes. Yes?
Question mark?
I mean, yeah.
Well, Diana says this, man, and I don't know why I can't or haven't been able to, in this point, fully accept this counsel. She said, basically, you're the hero of your own story in a vlog. And that's not necessarily accurate as it all goes along, but
right.
Do whatever comes to your mind and your heart to do, and the people who are watching the vlog or chosen to watch the vlog will be along for the ride. And, I can say with a little bit of distance, with a match in my hand and gasoline on the fire waiting to burn it down, I can say, I think there's some truth to that. Now, where I'm not okay is, I guess I thought the numbers, which I said in the beginning, the little numbers that they aren't personified. They're just numbers that are squeeping at you to go, hey, whatever. It could be 10, it could be 1,000, it could be 100,000.
Yeah.
I don't even know what number would need to be there represented. 1 million, 7 million, like what? It doesn't matter. But
It's
it
a
just
moving.
seems like it's. And my wife sings that song from what's the one with Hugh Jackman where he's a performer, The Greatest Show.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah, whenever the singer, the talented singer from overseas comes over and she sings something about never enough, she sings that song to me every time.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm disappointed with how the video
something
did.
like that.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with how this last video did or something like that. I just figured like it would resonate with more people. And then she starts singing, "It's never enough," and I'm like, it's true, but stop it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I keep on hoping that the Lord deals with. That's the part that I should probably deny and say that's not a factor that I struggle with. But I see it and I'm like, and it drives me batty. Is it the thumbnail? Is it the title? Is it the content? What did not resonate with all that stuff? And trying to jump through the hoops to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
Is the part that is stealing my joy.
Right. So I'm going to ask myself your question, and I'm going to redefine one term. The question that you asked me was about the sweet spot. Mm-hmm. Have you hit the sweet spot? Are you hitting the sweet spot type of a deal? I want to redefine sweet spot. And I want to redefine it in such a way, we'll start with the physical ministry. The sweet spot for me is, I'm going to answer, yes, I've hit the sweet spot. And here's how I define the sweet spot in physical ministry. The sweet spot is where I am fully being who God has called me to be, doing what God has called me to do. That's where I say in physical ministry as a pastor of Full Faith Church, yes, I've hit the sweet spot. Mm-hmm. They get me. Like, not that they understand me, but they are getting the unpolished, untarnished me. Same. I may pull up a 1980s commercial of a Playtex girdle to show an illustration for the armor of God. Why? Because I think it's funny.
Yep.
It's like, and that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to do, like, I like music. So I've done a series at Christmas time where I call it Carols. And all I'm doing is taking Christmas carol songs. And I've done, I don't know, I think we've done it 3 different times now. So I'm on 10 different Christmas carols that I have just taken and then made an entire sermon out of that. Why? Because it's low-hanging fruit and it's easy to come up with a series doing that. And then I've done the same thing in the spring, and it's playlist, and it's just pop songs. And then I just take a lyric out of the pop songs and create a sermon based around that one lyric, just with a biblical spin on it. Why? Because I can, and I find it interesting. So the church gets me. And do I feel like I am finally walking in who he's called me to be and how he's called me to lead our church? Absolutely. With that being the sweet spot, have I found the sweet spot on YouTube yet with my channel? No. Because I don't think I have been fully who I am in the way that he fully wants me to be. Mm-hmm. And that's because I think I'm chasing too many other voices out there of how the experts are saying that YouTube channels need to be. You know what? Show me who the YouTube pastor expert is, and then I'll listen to him. It's not there. There is not a YouTuber pastor expert that is out there yet. There's a few of us in the space, but have any of us?
I was gonna say, if I gathered together a round table, you'd probably be sitting at it.
Well, no, there's a few of us that I would say yes if we were doing a round table. But is there any of us that are YouTubers and pastors that have become an expert? No, because I've looked at a lot of them, and they change so much. Like when I think of YouTube experts, I'm thinking of the people that have honed in on how to do something, and that their way of doing it is
The standard.
repeatable. And they can basically take it, cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. Mr. Beast is a YouTube expert because he can take his formula and cut and paste it and replicate it across a variety of different channels. And he's done that. And Daryl Eves has helped him do that. And Daryl Eves is one I would call a YouTube expert because he's figured out. And he's got Vid Summit. And there are YouTube experts that do that. Who's in a ministry context that is doing that? And that's the thing. It's like, even if we sat there and we could point out a couple in ministry context that may be considered YouTube experts at ministry, they've not repeated the process with others, and they're still experimenting on their own channels, and they also don't vlog. And so that's the other thing. It's like, I mean, you show me a pastor, a minister that's a vlogger that has had explosive growth. And don't tell me that Christian vlogger, because I don't count that as vlogging.
No. I haven't seen anybody from the bottom up. I've seen the fame thing from the top down.
Right.
Not saying
you've already got the platform, and then you
right. So like Brandon Lake, he started vlogging. He's not a pastor. He's more of like a worship leader type person, but he's working top down. So he already has a platform. He already has a following, and then he brings in vlogging or.
Yeah, and even that point that I'm making isn't to say that there aren't those that are having success and that others would deem them as being experts. It's me making the point of I'm listening to experts that haven't walked a mile in the shoes of a pastor. And so they don't know. And that's the thing. If you've not done it, you don't know. I don't care if you're a worship leader, you don't know. If you have not pastored a church, you do not know. I don't care if you're an evangelist, you do not know. You can be an apostle, you do not know.
Why don't you just get to it? My goodness.
I'm
don't. 100% in support of you, but go ahead.
And it's like,
now you're talking.
They don't know. So it's like, you don't know. I'm sorry, you don't know. And you can't know. Until you've done it, you don't know. And that's but okay, so here's the other thing. They don't know. Why don't they know? Because too many of us pastors have held things too close to our vest for way too long, and we haven't pulled back the curtain to say,
bro, I had no clue. Life. I had no clue. Whenever I took over the lead pastor position, or whatever you want to call that. Yeah. My predecessor, my father-in-law, looked back and he said, "Listen, son, I don't think you understand. Like, yeah, you've been ordained and everything, and you're a pastor, but you now are responsible, and you're going to feel the shift of that. And no joke, you feel the shift of responsibility, and the buck stops here."
Yep. And that's the other thing, even if you've been a pastor. If you've never been the lead or senior pastor, you don't know. If you've never been a youth pastor, you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't. If you've never been the pastor of a small church, you don't know. If you've never been the pastor of a mega church, you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, everything has a new spin on it. And while there are themes and similar experiences that happen, it's just not the same. Like, it really isn't. And that's the struggle. So when it comes to answering my question of have I found that sweet spot, with sweet spot being falling in, coming into the fullness of who I am as a digital minister, digital pastor, whatever, vlog pastor, have I come into that in doing it the way that God has want me to do it? Absolutely not. That's the thing that I would sit there, and as I'm saying that, it frustrates me because we're 4 and 5 years in on this, something like that.
Yep.
And it's like,
we're not spring chickens. We need to get after this.
And it's like, why? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Stay out of my psychosis.
And
stay out of my psychosis.
You know what we're doing? we are doing the same thing, which is following everybody else's standards of doing it. And maybe, just maybe, God is wanting us to be the YouTube vlog pastor experts.
All right.
And if that's the case, then maybe we just need to start doing it the way and stop analyzing and counting success and numbers the way that the world sees them, but start counting success by the numbers and the way that God sees them. And here's one of the best success stories that I could have in vlogging is that I made a vlog about professional wrestling, and one of the guys from our church is now connecting and relating with me in a deeper and more profound way because of something I made, sticking a camera in my face and putting on some spandex. It's like, and tell me what YouTube expert would tell me to do it that way. No.
None.
But I just thought it would be kind of a fun and interesting vlog. I thought it would be interesting to share a vlog about that. And actually, I don't even know if that's the one he watched or if he watched the one that I made about the time when I was a wrestler. Man, I don't know which one it was.
You're right. We've got so much rewiring to do in our brains because you just got done. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go out there and take the world. I'm ready to go do some filming. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, glory, glory.
Hey, I'm glad you're pumped up because I'm ready to take a nap and pout.
Well, here's what needs to happen with the rewiring of our minds. In addition to that, I'm thinking, we should probably take that little nugget right there that you just got through saying and make that a clip, and you could put that clip on Insta. And I'm like, the fact that that's even in my mind.
Somebody should do that, but it ain't gonna be me. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, see, that's where we kick ourselves because I'm not gonna call it demonic. I'm just gonna say that thought entered into my mind of, we should capture that and put that in an Instagram post, and that would be a way to promote that. Nobody's got time for that. That's just more work upon work upon work.
Yeah.
Not that we don't need to do things like that, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Says who? Like you're saying with the experts.
Yeah.
Says who? The experts would tell you to do that.
Right.
God has a way of taking those clips and hitting people's hearts, probably yours and mine right now for today, at just the right moment, at just the right time to change the trajectory of things. And we're working in a physical, fleshly. I can't speak for you. I am working in something that has always been designed to be a spiritual endeavor, and I'm trying to put fleshly constraints upon it and metrics and measurements, and I'm finding it frustrating. And this has been very eye-opening to have this Wednesday afternoon chat with you.
That neither one of us wanted to do. And I'm so glad John was here because he got shadow banned in the comments. Yep.
And he almost got me again, but you didn't.
Yeah,
this has been beneficial, man. I'm so glad we did. I seriously, I know you want to take a nap, but I'm pretty jacked about this. This is freedom for me. This is the thing that we were talking that I've been struggling with to go, yeah, but what does that look like?
Yeah.
To just letting all of it melt down, not burn it down like I've been talking about. Just let all of it melt away, all of the numbers and all of the best practices, and just create.
Yeah, and that's where I think maybe... Like for me at least, and I had mentioned getting back to the basics, maybe it wasn't a case of feeling the pressure and needing a relief valve as much as needing a reset button. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what it is. And just sitting there and saying, just keep it simple. Like we understand that more is caught than taught. And we also understand that God will speak through us in one message that we deliver with one point, and he will deliver 50 different messages to 50 different people.
That's right.
So should we have a point? I think we should have a point in what we're trying to say and put out there. But that doesn't mean that we need to be so focused that that one point that we're trying to put out there is intended for everybody, because somebody's going to get something out of it. And we just trust God with that. It's like, I'm going to put this out. And maybe that's a case of we just know that, I know for me, and this isn't even I know for me that if I don't create something, I'm not stirred up. I feel that. It's like I have to create. I am created by my creator to be creative. And if I am not being creative, then I'm not being who he's called me to be and who he's designed me to be, who he's created me to be. Like, I'm not doing that. And I feel that. And that's where I get in a funk or in the lurch. And it's just like, I start to feel that stuff. So that's where it's just like a day turns into a week and it turns into a month. And then it's like 6 months later and I'm like, maybe I'll do something. Whereas if I just kind of keep it simple, and if I just need to create, okay, what am I going to create that will not have me chasing numbers?
Mm-hmm.
What will I create that will share what God wants me to share? And that is me and my relationship with him, with others. Like, how am I doing this? How am I living by faith? That's the primary thing he wants me to share. The other 15 channels that I've got, those are the ones that follow the other worldly standards. And then when I feel the pressure on those, I can delete them for the fourth time.
How's the Bible reading channel doing? Just quick aside. Okay.
Like I said, I haven't uploaded any of those shorts for 19 days now. Because I only had them batch recorded up through the end of September, so I didn't record anything, and I didn't want to record anything, and I felt the pressure, and I didn't want to do it, and so I didn't do it, and I still haven't done it. And
perfect.
I'll do it at some point. So I haven't even checked anything. I know I wound up getting one message on, and it was a comment on a channel recently that was encouraging, but I can't even remember which channel it was on. The downfall of having 18 channels. But I think it was actually the main channel. Let me see if I can find it real fast.
18 of 19.
There it was. Yeah. It was somebody 2 days ago that said, "You used to take me to school."
Huh.
And the
Are you serious?
interesting part of that is, so that was 2 days ago, and then I think it was actually yesterday. No, it was 2 days ago. So it was later that day. I wound up being on I got out of my bus. We were at the high school. I went over onto one of the other buses just to talk to that driver. And while I'm standing there, I heard some kid like yelling, "Hey, Joshua." And so I turned around and looked, and he's like, "That's a YouTuber. That's Joshua Verwers." I was just like, but then in that moment, it's like, okay, that should be encouraging too. That, because I know what's on the channel. Like that, my channel is stuff that, yes, kids could watch. It's not made for them, but I would feel safe in pretty much them watching any of the stuff that I made, because it's not going to get any worse than what's already in the Bible. So,
oh gosh, that's a pretty low bar, though. There's some crazy stuff.
This is true.
You want to hear? Well, actually, let's do comments and stuff, and probably wrap this up. But I have a story to share about Jesse, kind of one of those knowing somebody famous but not knowing them, kind of the reverse to your story. So she comes up in church. We have a guy in church. Apparently, he's pretty famous. We didn't know this because he's an older gentleman. You wouldn't assume that he's on TikTok. And so she's showing one day she's on TikTok showing somebody something. And he came up and was talking to her, and she starts explaining TikTok to him. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I know this is TikTok, and this is how you do it." And she's doing a couple of the different features, and he's like, "Oh, cool, interesting, seems pretty neat." And so a little bit later, one of her friends came up and was like, "Oh yeah, he's I think he's got some sort of TikTok deal. I think he's that's one of his little side hustles or whatever." So we look him up online, and it's like, oh, mercy. He's like, he never even said anything the entire time. Like, oh, cool. Yeah, interesting. TikTok seems to be like the wave of the future or something. I don't know. And the dude's got, hundreds of thousands of views or subscribers or whatever they're called. Followers.
Followers, yeah.
It's like, dude.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But you wouldn't suspect. Just an older gentleman reacts videos and stuff.
Yeah. It works. Like, it's just
The opposite of, I know that guy. Hey, you drove bus.
right. Yeah.
Who are you again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, then I'm also kind of glad that at least I'm me on the bus. I'm me I'm me everywhere. You know me. You've met me in person. I'm the same me that's on YouTube. Have I done it the way that I should fully? No. Have there been those glimpses? Yes. I think there's a lot of those vlogs, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I think back on some of my favorite vlogs. Where is the spiritual side of the content at all? Like, it's completely absent. But it's an interesting vlog. And if I watched somebody make that vlog, then all of a sudden I start watching other. That's the other part of this. Like Casey Neistat, dude, the bike lanes video, and he just released a second bike lanes video. Yeah. Man, you had me hooked on that. But because I watched the first one, I was like, this guy is kind of cool and interesting. I want to know more. And then I watch a couple more. And then all of a sudden I get to know him a little bit. And I start to like him. And now all of a sudden I start to trust him. Now, I know who he's voting for and who he did vote for, and there ain't no way on God's green earth I'm casting that ballot. But doesn't mean I still don't like the guy, and I still don't trust in who he is and what he says to a certain degree. Gary V's another one. Like, you start to learn about some of that stuff. But, man, I watch how many Gary V videos where he's just going to garage sales.
Well, imagine you probably got hooked on a video that wasn't necessarily his best, even Casey's, because so I think I was telling you guys this the other day, but John came across one of my older John came across one of my older videos. I'm sure he'd seen it before, but it was not a good one. But YouTube is shopping it around like crazy right now. So I go to find out. I'm like, let me pull this up and see what's going on here. I pull it up. And it's 11 minutes of a video that should have been 3. And I'm just getting it to the fullest extent of my ability. And, you know, and people, I've had a lot of really good comments from that video. It's like people really enjoyed that. They found some benefit. They stuck around on the channel. There's been some subscribers from that. And I'm like, that video?
Right.
Really? That doesn't demonstrate anything about, outside of goats and me and Jesse hamming it up. I guess that's kind of at its core who we are, but so I would be willing to guess that you came across some video that Casey's near appalled by now.
Oh, probably. Although really, I don't know if Casey would be appalled by any of his videos though, because he's the one guy that I think he fully understood what he was trying to do from the get-go, and he just didn't care.
100%. But he also, dude, he'd been in the field for 15 years. Can you imagine taking like all of those, having done that for 15 years on the backside of the desert type of a thing, and then bringing it to bear and go, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. That dude knew he was riding a lightning bolt.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's get to a few of these comments, and then we'll get out of here. John saying...
Read it.
No, John saying, just make the videos for yourself, Jarrod. That's what the channel was made from in the first place, it seems like. I mean, here's the thing. If we make them for ourselves, then I do think that there is an audience that's like that. I mean, if we're trying to make them for ourselves, or maybe we put it this way. We're making a video that we want that other people would like. It doesn't have to be for them or really for us, but I think there's a sweet spot in there. I've said that, I've done that, I've hated it, the one for me, one for them type of a deal. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I want to make all of these for me. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to make all of them for them too. Like, to me, it's kind of like my sermons. I want it to be something that I'm interested in, that others are interested in too. And that's where I think that just at the very nature of it being interesting to me, it will be interesting to somebody else. So I think the downfall of a vlog about nothing is when there are people that think, I'm just going to put random things out there. And 5 years from now, I'm still saying, now I'm going to go make coffee. Now I'm going to go do laundry. Now I'm going to... If 5 years later we're still doing that, it's probably time to hang it up. But we're not doing that because we've learned that in storytelling, it's better to show than tell. And so we make the coffee and we can do the laundry and we can build the fences and we can do the stuff. And some of that doesn't even have to be told.
Or you film a cinematic sequence on a GoPro of a weed eater. Part of the 11 minutes that didn't need to be there. Lesson learned. It evolves.
I mean, hey, it could work.
It's so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, let's see. Genevieve had something that she posted in there. Oh, wait. Before that, we'll get to the comment I actually enjoy. Pastor Jeffrey Calling. I always enjoy your guys' vlogs.
I appreciate that.
See? Come on. Right there. Encouraging. I like it. Let's do it. Joshua, don't you have a list? Genevieve, do you mean Post-it notes? My list isn't working. I should make a vlog about how it's not working and I need a new method, and I haven't found one yet.
Yes.
John says, please. I saw that on Jesse's IG about solar.
Yes. Yes.
Jarrod, keep in mind, you even had footage of Dave talking about his Riverdance videos coming up in one of the vlogs, which I literally laughed out loud at.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. Can you do another video on profile pics videos?
There it is. There it is. There it is. And those of you fans of Joshua and the channel will recognize that he hates that video.
I hate that video, and I'm sure it is still the best performer. I hate it so much, I removed it. I hid it from the channel. I made it private, and then I decided, now I need to make it public again, and I put it out there. And people still find it. Hey, if somebody wants to find that, and that's all they want out of it, great. If they find that, and they happen to find some of the other videos I make, bonus. So, yep, huge change when you start walking in that role. You really don't know. You thought you might have a clue, but you really don't. This is true.
Yep. Speaking about lead pastors and
very true.
Any position. Yep.
Also, that and toilet mugs. That's probably me, and having the random Playtex girdle commercial and toilet mugs.
Somebody said the other day, one of my friends, they're like, could you imagine if like there was like a mug on, or like a toilet mug kind of thing? I'm like, I've seen that.
And Joshua has one, and he drank from it on a live stream. Diving off the roof, firing up a chainsaw in the house. Yeah, those are fun ones. I almost thought about putting like that Christmas. You saw that Casey was doing like some little thing. Actually, I think it's already passed and expired, but there was like a join or try to win a trip with Casey, something like that. And it was like, share your best vlog. Man, that tore me up because I couldn't figure out what my best one was.
Ooh.
Like my first thought was
one of the
diving off
Christmas.
a roof. And then I watched it back and I was like, but was it really? Maybe.
Dude,
I don't know.
For me, and everybody has their own favorites, but for me, your golden era was, and soon will be again, was that Christmas daily vlogging thing that we had going back and forth. Holy cow. I remember having to like get a grip on myself and figure out what am I going to do tomorrow to up my game to keep up with, like, you were just
man, we were
pushing it.
We were going at it pretty hard. Yeah, and that was like a healthy, friendly competition. And it was like not only trying to one-up you, but trying to one-up myself too. And then how do I push myself? And knowing that in pushing myself, it's going to kind of push you. And is that a good thing or a bad thing, and not knowing?
Dude, we had stuff like I mean, you jumping off roofs, and of course chainsaws, those were the cinematic, like seeing it, but like the effects that we added in where we were splitting and we had multiples of each other, we had like, I think I was talking, I came up with like a Siri that would do different, oh my goodness. That was fun.
Yeah, it was so
That was my
crazy.
favorite season of yours. That just because every day I'm like, oh my goodness, where did you find the time to figure that out?
I didn't sleep. I did not sleep.
Goodness.
Although then I sat there and I look at some of the now YouTube experts that they're like, don't post so often. Like,
Yeah.
upload once every couple of weeks or once a month. And then I'm like,
Wait a minute, that was a thing?
I was like, that's an option. And then
You
I'm
guys
sitting there
just
and
got
thinking,
through telling me to post 3 times a week, and you were
Right.
saying post. Wow.
yeah. And now they're like, and here's the same thing. You've seen Ryan Trahan's secret channel, right?
Yeah.
His second channel. Like, dude, I love that. I love the fact that he was telling me about his burnt grass and that he was going to water it. I wanted to know how his grass was doing. How stupid is that? That's a vlog about nothing. So yes, I want to see about your solar panels. So, oh, and the YouTube's experts are also saying vlogging is dead. Well, I mean, if
They've been
there's
saying
no
that for
shot
like 3
for
years.
if there's no shot for vlogging, then why are we listening to them anyways? Because we're definitely not going off that. So, wait, Trey Van Camp, I am currently in a sermon writing rut. Can you fix this one for me too? Oh man, sermon
Maybe you could
writing
recommend-
ruts.
Recommend a channel to him, Pastor Trey Van Camp. I believe you'll find some good ideas on that one.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. Sermon writing ruts. Those are the worst. And talk about pressure. That's the kind of pressure that I hate. The only thing is like that type of pressure. I have no you have no choice. Even though I've told myself many a times when I have that pressure and it's even Saturday and I still don't have anything and I stay up way too late over the weekend and I'm like, it's Sunday morning and I'm still trying to prepare. And then I'm telling them, can you push back the countdown timer another 5 minutes? I don't know how many times I'm like, you know what? If I don't have it, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to be like, I don't have anything. So let's just chat. I never do it. I chicken out all the time. I give myself the added pressure.
No way. He shows. Sorry, I shouldn't say this as a rule, but he shows up. This is a pressure that is on him. If we have been seeking him and asking him for a word and like diligently going after him in this matter, then he's either said it, we just haven't uncovered it, or like it's coming, or this is on him and he wants to do something totally different. And then the breaking of you comes the story.
Right. And that's
I hate living that, but it's so true though.
That's
isn't it?
typically what it is. It's typically what it is all the time. So, Trey saying, I'm speaking to a youth conference and I'm
that's
terrified.
the worst.
4
Never mind. Everything I said,
sermons
it's off. I don't
for
have.
one
I don't
weekend.
have it. Never mind. I chickened out. You're speaking at a youth conference? No.
I did it once, and then it was like, nope, ain't. Oh,
4
man.
sermons in 1 weekend.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
I never try to tell youth pastors what to do about anything. I just pray for them because I did it for like that long, and I'm like, no, I understand why so many leave youth ministry. Like I can't do it, guys. No, I just pray. 4 sermons
Yeah.
for the weekend. Man, you know, the only thing I could do, and I don't even know if this would even help, but the only thing that I could do is I would try to find one of my like 4-part sermons, and then I would break that up into 4 different sermons. That's the only thing I'd do. Grab an extra couple like nuggets here and there, which is funny because I've actually been one of the thoughts that I've had flowing around my head. Like I don't have enough things to do already.
Right.
I've actually been thinking what I really need to do to help myself is I need to try to prepare some like sermon series that are kind of like batched, and I've got them just like in the can that I could pull out at any point in time. Because like when you have that stuff that's already prepared that you can just pull back out, that's the stuff that I've got that. Like I have 2 sermons that are in the can that if I ever have to go overseas, they're the perfect sermons to use because I know them inside and out, like the back of my hand. I know exactly where the scar's at on them, and I've delivered them with translators, so I know that the flow and everything works. Like that, man, if I could, that's what I would love to do is be able to kind of repurpose or repackage some of those like series that I've done and have them in a way that I could just pull them back out, and they're almost like cookie cutter, that all I really need to do is, if I'm in a pinch, I can just kind of pull it out and say, okay, refresh, and then go deliver. Kind of like a comedian where they've got all the extra jokes that are just kind of lined up, and man, I need to do that. It's not cheating, is it? I don't think so. You don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm out of my depth on this one. I don't understand. No. I don't understand how people can do, or pastors can do like multiple services, because if I come back to the same sermon, I'm in trouble. I have fortunately never, I don't, maybe the Lord would force that upon me one day, but I have never had to do that, because I think I would melt down. There's something about how I'm wired, how He's wired me, that I'm pretty good reacting, and I rely heavily upon authenticity. So for me in the moment, I can do pretty good, even if I don't have something. Yeah. But to have to go back to something planned, or to come up with 4 sermons that are already pre-canned, oh no. You're talking my nightmare right there.
See, I like I've got a couple of those sermons that I've done. And the funny thing is, even those sermons that I've done overseas, I've preached at my church multiple times, like 3 or 4 times. And it is new to everybody every single time that I do it.
That's amazing.
Like, I don't know how. Like, my mom's like, that's one of the best sermons I've ever heard you preach. And I was like, which time? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I've preached that at least 3 other times here. She's like, no, you haven't. I was like, yes, I have. And I would like even pull it out, and I'd be like, look, I've got this Word document. It's saved from 2017.
No, I'm with you. I don't know why that there's a limit in my brain on that, because we were just talking about it. If he can have one message delivered 50 different ways to 50 different people or whatever, he could do the same thing with, right, a canned message that we go back through. But
and like, I don't know, movies that we've watched or books that we've read. I'm putting that out there for Trey, because I don't read books. But like
audibles that we've listened to.
Yeah, audibles we've listened to, vlogs we've watched, where you watch it a second or a third or a fourth time, and all of a sudden it's like, I didn't notice that before. Yeah. Don't tell me you haven't watched vlogs over again. I've watched some of your vlogs multiple times.
Yeah,
I've watched some of Trey's multiple times.
Same.
He says, I am totally trying to repackage a sermon series from a couple months ago. Thankfully, the theme is vague enough that I can spin. Yeah, dude.
There you go.
Like, I think that's great. I think it's a great idea to do and to use. I was actually trying to go back through that for our church, even, because I had somebody was even talking about like the armor of God, and I did a series on the armor of God. Oh man,
girdle or no girdle?
This was the girdle one. Oh, I'll definitely use the girdle again. But I used that, and it was one of my favorite series that I ever did. And I haven't taught it really since. A little bit here, a little bit there, but I want to redo that all over again. That time I did it, I think it was either 10 or 12 weeks. And I would like to condense it down to like 4 to 6. I don't know if that's feasible or not, but yeah, I got to do it. Anyhow, so Trey says, I'm at least comforted that you all know this is terrifying.
Oh yeah, man. No, thank you.
We're praying for you. Father, give Trey the wisdom, the strength, the guidance that he needs. Equip his hands, equip his heart, and give him the right message, the word in season for those who need it this weekend. Man.
Could be.
Yeah. We feel. I feel bad for hijacking this live, but what would your time limit be for a message to teenagers?
Oh, mercy.
So here's the thing. When I did both times that I've done it, so we've done it at our annual conference, and I've preached up there multiple times for the youth. And then I've also done it for, we did a youth conference that I wound up preaching there. Both times I was given a time to go for. And both times, like the first one at our annual conference, they said that we've got 50 minutes and they would have some announcements and stuff. And then they've got a little bit of a game that they could play, but I still needed to be delivering like 30 to 35 minutes. And I'm like, that's longer than I give my church. So, and then at the youth conference, I think that one they had said 45 minutes is what they wanted. So, if it were me, like if they didn't give me a set amount of what to do, if I was just to come up with whatever, I would probably be aiming for like 18 to 25 tops is probably where I'd be aiming in there.
Agreed.
And I just say 18 because of TED Talks. But that's kind of where, I'd be looking at.
Well, so I was helping a friend of mine. He's got a huge youth program, and he lost his youth minister there for a little bit. And so I dipped in to help out. And obviously, it's not going to be a 45-minute. If they do say 45, then they know something you don't know. But I would say it took a little while and getting used to, bouncing with their attention span to get to the point. If I had the crutch of I could keep them moving because it was, it wasn't like a full packed out conference. I mean, it's still a huge youth group, but a full packed out conference, you keep them moving to different activities as far as like, hey, we're gonna pray about a word, or we're gonna ask, the Lord to do different things. So we kept it kind of ministry time mixed in with some preaching. So
yeah.
It was but 18 to 25 is the sweet spot. Long enough to get their attention, to tell the silly illustrations, to settle into the magnitude and weight of what God's trying to deliver, and then lightheartedly bounce out or transition to the next. 18 to 25.
Yeah, and he's thinking 25. And a lot of that depends on, typically I would think at like youth conference, you typically have more churched teens, so they can endure a little bit longer than other stuff. And I think the one that I did that was actually like 45 minutes, that was the one, if I remember right, I think I want to say I did a story about Walls of Jericho. Yeah, it was the Walls of Jericho, because I actually got them all up, and we like got up out of the room, and it was like, hey, let's play a game of follow the leader, and we're going to start doing this. And so we were walking around, and I made them as quiet as possible. And so like we went out into a common area, and then all in a big circle, just walking around the area. And we did it like 7 times. So I ate up 10 minutes just doing that stuff. But it was like, shh. And then as soon as we got back into the youth room and the doors were shut, then we just erupted with a huge loud shout. But I got super creative on how to just eat up more time. I was like, well, let's treat them like children, and let's get them up and moving. We'll reset their brains for a second. So anywho, let's see. Yeah, John was saying 20 minutes. Ours start tuning out. Depends on if you have hungry teens or not. Yeah, for sure.
Well, they can. We just got through setting a pretty firm boundary right there to say that's the sweet spot. But man, all bets are off when the presence of the Lord falls upon that place. Man, true. Trey, I would anticipate that you get into it and they're just pulling it out of you. And if you go long, man. They can handle it.
And it also depends on who's delivering it. I mean, you get some of the old boomers. They just don't want to listen. Yeah. So you get someone like Trey, they might want to listen a little bit longer.
They might want to listen.
Yep. He says, thanks, y'all. But yes, vlogs are back. Uploading another one tomorrow.
Come on.
I might record one tomorrow. I'm just being honest. I won't record one today because I don't feel like it. But I might record one tomorrow. I do need to. I do. What I should do is I should record a follow-up vlog about how my system isn't working. Maybe yes. I'll find some. I've got some lighter fluid in the Zippo from that Vlogmas thing. Maybe that'll set this, get a good start for it. Have
Dude,
to put
you
in
can't
a
do
disclaimer about trained professionals.
Well, let me say, no peer pressure here. You do anything that you want to do, but we just got rid of the I don't wannas. So press on.
John, no. All right.
That's awesome.
I think I'm done. Bladder is full. I've had way too much coffee. Love y'all. Stay blessed. Enjoy God's best. And until next time, we'll see you then.